Hey yo guys, I'm here to give you my UFC 94 review. Gotta say, this pay-per-view was, a pretty good show. I mean, the crowd was hot all night. It was the night of the decision, the split decision, I should say, not, unanimous or anything like that. Majority of the fights went to split decision. Other than that, I mean, we got some good fights. I mean, some good competitive, hard-fought fights, which, is always good. Some people may say some of the fights were boring, but, yeah, I wouldn't go that far. Anyways, let's just get to the review here. We started things out in the pay-per-view, and actually that showed a nice little rest in peace Helio Gracie graphic. I was actually happy that they did that. I mean, I wish they would have showed a picture of him and, IP type deal, but hey, at least they made mention of him. I believe they've did that with Evan Tanner when he, had his tragic passing, but, it was just nice to see them do that, take time to show respect to, the founders of, one of the founders of, of Jiu-Jitsu, basically. So, smart, nice done there. And then we started things out with the first fight of the night, which was Nate Diaz versus Guida, and this was a smart move for me, to me, I should say. Having this fight open the card is, Guida is just so exciting. He's got this charisma about him, and the fans get into him. Diaz, a lot of people think he's a natural-born heel, which, in his type of fighting style, the fans don't like him. But I wasn't as surprised as, there was some booing towards Diaz, but after the end of the fight, there wasn't much booing, and Diaz accepted the end result pretty well. This fight, though, it was entertaining. It was a great, like I said, it was a great way to get this the show going. Crowd was for sure into it. Crowd was very hot all night. I was actually very surprised at Diaz's stand-up here. As Diaz was, I shouldn't say surprised. Diaz did what I expected him to do. I mean, in the stand-up department, he was, striking Guida, and picking part of Guida for the opening moments of that fight. And Guida just couldn't get inside his jab. But then Diaz made the mistake. He shot in. I mean, why would you shoot in on Clay Guida when, you saw how dominant he was on, he's got real strong wrestling skills, and he absolutely dominated Mac Danzig and, on the ground in their fight on the Ultimate Fight Night show. So, I mean, I don't know why, try and do that. And then from that point on, the tide of the fight turned. It was Guida, dominating. He took Diaz's back a couple times, he tried to get, a choke on him there, but he couldn't really get that on. I'll give props to Diaz in that department. He was able to, defend the choke there. And then towards the end of the first round, Diaz was, potting back. He had a nice little end the round, and it was a close round to score. But I think Guida's domination from the ground and all that department was a Guida round. And basically the rest of the fight went along with that pattern. The second round for sure was much of the same story. Guida on the ground dominating in there. But, I will give Diaz props when, Guida had, a waist lock, basically. Diaz did some nice, trip takedowns to, get on top of him. But he just couldn't capitalize. The third round I definitely gave to Diaz. I just thought he did more work in that department. But, Guida wins the split decision. Diaz wasn't upset about the result. As I don't think he should have been, as I think he probably realized that he got was mounted a bit. There's a lot of he was in side control a lot of the fights. So I mean, I was proud of the maturity level there of Nate Diaz. A lot of people didn't like him, but he didn't get booed as much as I thought he would. So good fight to start the show. Then we went to the judo war between Karo the Heat Parisyan and the stun gun Dong Hyun Kim. This was another close fight. I mean, if you think about it, the crowd here, they'd seen up to this point, five consecutive, split decisions. They get it attacked for another one here, as, Kim basically did more of the work in the first round, judoing, throwing him, doing much better work in the clinch. I mean, that's why you had to give the first round to Kim. Parisyan definitely won the second round. I mean, he had that big throw, and he was able to take advantage of it to an extent to win the round. But then the third round was just this stalemate of nothing, and I mean, it kind of soured me on. To me, I thought this should have been a draw, as Kim won round one, Parisyan wins the second, and they do nothing in the third. So to me, it should have been a draw. Parisyan gets the win, and the crowd is not a fan of that. But to me, this fight was so close to call. I mean, how could you have that kind of a negative reaction? I mean, both guys fought real hard in that department, but. Excuse me. I mean, I don't think you could have gone on a boo streak like that. I mean, I wasn't a fan of that, and once again, I guess some mixed martial art fans don't understand what's going on, or that, I don't know. If anything, I guess I was with you, maybe giving it to Kim, but it was just too close to call. I scored it a draw, and so did, I know a lot of people did, so that's my thoughts on that fight. You know, and Parisyan, he looked pretty impressive. I mean, judo skills were pretty good. This was more of a judo fight than an MMA fight, but still, I would have got a draw, but Karo the Heat Parisyan gets a win, and hopefully he can, you know, capitalize on that win furthermore. Then we go to the next fight, which was just, wow, a fun fight. It was Stephan Bonnar versus Johnny Bones Jones. And let me just give you a story on Johnny Bones Jones. Some of the moves that Johnny Bones learns is he just sits there on YouTube and watches, you know, how to do cool moves. Like, he did this amazing German suplex, like, you know, you would have seen a Kurt Angle do. And then when he got that knockdown in the first round on Stephan Bonnar, which was, you know, after Bonnar basically had, you know, Jones in a waistlock, you know, Jones just does this roller derby, you know, spin elbow, and he just drops Bonnar. It was just insane. I think the best part of that was when they showed that on replay, and Joe Silva absolutely marked out. I thought that was pretty cool. And then, in the, I believe it was the second round, there was this amazing overhead belly-to-belly by Bones Jones. This was just insane. I mean, Bones Jones is one of those entertaining fighters. I expect a big future for this guy. You know, he's got to work on cardio for sure, as, I mean, he gassed in the third round for sure, and he could have been, you know, taken advantage of by Stephan Bonnar, who, you know, liked to keep the things standing, but, you know, he just wasn't there. But then again, he had a lot of layoff time, you know, with the whole steroid allegation thing, and then the injuries, which is, you know, more key to me than the steroid type deal. Wasn't able to take advantage of them. I mean, Bones Jones, I mean, he tried another, I mean, he did so much, you know, in that fight. I mean, it was just insane. I mean, with a couple attempts at a drop toe hold, you know, like I mentioned, the roller derby back elbow, and the overhead belly to belly that was just perfect. It was like Keiji Muto whipping you off the ropes and overhead belly to belly. It was insane. It was that awesome. And Bones Jones got the split decision as he won the, to me, definitely won the first two rounds. Bonnar wins the third by, you know, doing more work and on the stand-up department, and Jones' cardio wasn't there for that, but he was able to survive and, you know, get the decision. So if Jones can just work on the cardio, he should be set for a strong run in his career in the UFC. Then we went to the next fight, which was the fight that, you know, of all the fights on this card, we're like, yeah, this is the one that's going to be the split, the decision, and it's going to be tough, and it's going to be kind of hard to watch. No, we, by the grace of God, got Lyoto Machida versus Thiago Silva. Lyoto Machida, this was the best I've ever seen Lyoto Machida. Lyoto Machida absolutely dominated Thiago Silva. I mean, this wasn't even funny. I mean, he looked a lot more in shape, like, you know, more muscular build to him. He just absolutely picked apart Thiago Silva, you know, stand up with the striking, you know, the throws. I mean, he did this this sweep at the end of the first, which eventually led to the, you know, the knockout. I mean, who would have thought that the only knockout of the night would have been Lyoto Machida? I mean, no one would have bet that. I mean, if you'd bet your house on that, you would be, you know, sure. And in this economic times, that would have probably been, you know, a big thumbs up move, but unfortunately, it didn't happen. I mean, he just absolutely picked apart him. I mean, body kicks, stand-up striking, the tosses. I mean, there was an accidental low blow, yeah, but, you know, Silva couldn't recover. I mean, the 5 minutes or whatever, how long he took, didn't last him enough, and Machida finished him off with this nice knockout on the ground. Silva was out, like, out cold. This is almost kind of like the Wanderlei Silva on Keith Jardine type knockout, but other than that, really looking forward to seeing Lyoto Machida now. He's supposed to get the light heavyweight title shot against Rashad Evans, as, you know, Rampage Jackson has to fight Keith Jardine, so that's going to put that on hold. So I would expect, you know, Machida to fight, you know, I don't think he's got any, you know, medical suspension that could happen. I would expect, you know, maybe down the line, maybe the May show or probably the June show, Machida versus Evans for the light heavyweight belt. That's just my thinking here, but if anything comes out, I would say if Machida shows up like he did here, Rashad, you're in trouble. I'm gonna say that right now. Anyways, then we went to the main event, the everyone was looking forward to, that the crowd was into. I mean, there was a lot of Canadian flags there. I mean, the amount of Canadian flags there, you thought this show was in Montreal or, you know, Calgary, Vancouver, Toronto. I mean, it could have been anywhere there, but no, this was in Las Vegas. So, I mean, I know a lot of Canadians flew down for this. This was about a 70-30 crowd, more for GSP. And, you know, a lot of people were saying that, you know, BJ would win because George is an athlete and not a fighter. But to be a great fighter, don't you have to be an excellent athlete and, you know, incorporate all those? That's the thing I never got, because in this fight, you know, GSP proved that he's on another level. So, I mean, he just absolutely dominated BJ Penn. I mean, this was not fun at all for BJ Penn. I mean, he talked a lot of big game about, you know, how he was training for 6 rounds and all. Yeah, you were training for 6 rounds, but you weren't training for 6 rounds for a GSP. Yeah, that's just what I'm going to say there. I mean, the only thing I'm going to grab, George, you had him, like, done in the third. You could have finished him. But, you know, I will still give BJ props that he was able to cover himself up, and Herb didn't stop the fight because, you know, it wasn't necessary. This wasn't like, you know, what happened in Strikeforce back in, you know, October of last year. You know, Rosenthal makes this stop on, you know, Joe Diesel Riggs, when Joe Diesel Riggs is covering up pretty well, and... Yeah, you know, I was props to Herb Dean for not stopping us. You know, BJ was covering up pretty good for, you know, the majority of the fight. But, you know, I mean, it was just amazing how easy GSP was able to pass BJ's guard. I mean, that was just insane to me, how easy he did that. And, you know, he just dominated from him on the ground there. High control, full mount, whatever it was, he just dominated the fuck out of BJ Penn. BJ had no chance. So this just goes to prove that BJ, you belong at the lightweight division. You shouldn't be fighting these bigger guys. And now a lot of people are going to be, well, let's get the GSP Silva fight going. No, I mean, GSP has to now stay in his weight division. And, you know, Thiago the Pitbull Alves deserves a shot at the title. And now we're saying, well, Alves will probably take him, you know, beat him with, you know, the leg kicks and all. That GSP I saw, Alves... It's going to be a very long night for him, too. I just wish GSP could finish a fight. I mean, he had John Fish basically beating the hell down in, you know, their fight back at UFC 87. He couldn't finish that one. I went to a decision. He won unanimously, as he should have. But this one, you know, he should have stopped. He should have been able to stop BJ third. You know, I just wish he would have. It would have made, you know, made a little more than, you know, the ref having to make the stoppage. But still... it was a fun night of fights. I mean, I can't hate on this pay-per-view. I mean, the main event was kind of slow, but it was, you know, a big domination there for GSP, and he just goes to prove why he is Fighter of the Year, if you don't mind me saying. But anyways, that's it for me. Is there anything else I want to talk about before I actually leave? None, I don't know, not really. I guess I can kind of make mention, nah, I don't know. I mean... Impact was a joke. I guess I can say that. Impact was fun for the first 80 minutes with, you know, Chet Lemon and Black Snow, but, you know, Booker T, Black Snow kind of got on my nerves a bit, like 20 minutes after that, after it started. Chet Lemon was funny, Kevin Nash, I should say, was, you know, funny. Scott Steiner was the best part of this all, but, yeah, this pay-per-view is not going to do good numbers for TNA coming up next weekend. Smackdown, I thought, was, you know... I had a very wrestling-heavy show, but not a lot of good matches. I mean, to me, the best part was the opening promo with Matt Hardy. I mean, Matt Hardy isn't there yet as, you know, a complete, you know, viable, but, you know, with the WWE re-editing the show, with, you know, adding the music, which I think helped a lot, you know, piping in Hardy chants and just stuff like that. I mean, Hardy just has to, you know, probably change the attire a bit and, you know, maybe a haircut, I don't know, but just he'll come off as a more viable heel other than that. But still, I thought the wrestling was blah. I mean, we got another Taker Henry match that wasn't the greatest, but I mean, nothing bad as the main event of Triple H versus Vladimir Kozlov and the Great Khali. Good God. So yeah, just leave it at that. And by the way, MVP's a baby face, so whatever. But anyways, make mention, if you want to send some questions, you've seen the questions I kind of want, you can send them to my inbox or my email account. I'll put that actually in the description box this time. Yeah, and I guess if you want to know my Super Bowl pick, I'm going for the Cardinals. So I think they'll, with the grace of God, just like Lyoto Machida, getting that knockout, the grace of God will have Kurt Warner lead the Arizona Cardinals to the Super Bowl championship. But anyway, that's it for me. I'm out. Peace.